Mars conspiracies have started to become a topic again. As you know, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has been scanning the surface of Mars for many years. The high-rise camera it carries takes extremely detailed photographs of Mars and sends them back to Earth. And in one of those photographs, something very interesting was captured last month. In one of the central points of the Kandor Chasma Valley on Mars, a massive, strange triangular pyramid-shaped structure was discovered. Moreover, this is not an ordinary pyramid. It is a gigantic one, even larger than the Great Pyramid of Khufu on Earth. According to measurements, this mysterious structure has a radius of 290 meters. Its height is 147 meters, and it rises in the middle of one of the deserts of Mars that are thought to be dead. This discovery has recently started to be widely discussed, especially on social media. Was this a real pyramid, or was it a natural formation? As you can imagine, NASA said it was a natural formation. But conspiracy theorists do not agree. As you know, many people believe that there was once an advanced civilization on Mars. According to some, this civilization was even more advanced than humanity, superior to it. However, thousands of years ago, things started to go wrong on Mars, and the members of this civilization left their planet and came to Earth. They encountered our primitive ancestors. They educated them. They taught them agriculture, irrigation, and how to make tools. And it didn't stop there. They became the gods of our ancestors and had them build massive temples and structures for themselves. Naturally, these massive structures would be copies of those on their own planet. In other words, pyramids. That is why many people believe there is a real pyramid there. They do not accept NASA's explanation. Look, they say, there are pyramids in Egypt as well, surprisingly. They argue that there are pyramids in South America, Central America, Asia, and many different parts of the world, and they insist that the source of all this is Mars. To explain this matter, the main reason why civilizations in different parts of the world built similar pyramids is not a shared cultural unity. It is entirely mathematics and physics. Many scientists agree on this explanation. If you want to build a tall structure in ancient times, the most basic physical shape you can use is a pyramid. But no matter how much explanation is made, many people insist that there is a pyramid on Mars. If you also think there are mysterious pyramids on Mars, I have bad news for you. This mysterious pyramid story is not new. It is almost 25 years old. The Kandor Chasma Valley mentioned in the news and that pyramid structure were discovered in 2001. Back then, those who first saw the photos said, "This is a pyramid, there must be aliens." But of course, that was not the case. Experts who examined the region discovered that the valley had been subjected to heavy erosion for millions of years. This was a region where strong wind erosion occurred, and when there was liquid water on the surface of Mars in the past, this area was quite active. And just like on Earth, it is quite logical for similar geometric shapes to form in such areas. So yes, this is not a pyramid but a natural rock formation. Because it is harder than the surrounding rocks, it managed to remain standing like that in the middle. There are similar examples of this on Earth as well. For example, one of the most famous natural pyramid formations is the so-called Turkish pyramids in China. I call them Turkish pyramids, but they are actually natural formations. They are the result of millions of years of wind and water erosion. You can even see more advanced examples of this in Cappadocia, Turkey. This pyramid story has been circulating regularly since 2001. Every few years, it becomes a topic in the media again. A pyramid has been found on Mars, mysterious triangular structure. It cannot be natural, and similar discussions continue. And it seems that these claims will continue for many years, at least until we go there and establish a base. Ever since humanity started observing Mars more closely with telescopes, many interesting stories and ideas have been proposed about it. The mysterious pyramid on Mars is one of them, but it is neither the first nor the most ambitious. Those who know are aware, for example, of the giant face discovered on Mars during the Viking 1 mission in 1976. However, the oldest case regarding traces of civilization on Mars dates back to 1877. Let me briefly summarize it. In 1877, the famous Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli began observing Mars with his telescope and discovered channel-like structures on its surface. In his published paper, he mentioned massive canyon-like formations on Mars. However, when this paper was translated into English, some small errors were made. The channels Schiaparelli referred to were natural formations, like canyons, but during translation, a completely different meaning emerged. The news suddenly spread all over the world. The Italian astronomer had discovered canals built by advanced civilizations on Mars. Even though it was stated that this was a translation error, the damage had already been done. People now believed that there was an advanced civilization on Mars. This civilization was thought to be transporting water from the poles to central regions through massive canals to solve the planet's drought problem. Even though scientists argued otherwise, no one believed them. In the following years, Mars was observed with more advanced telescopes, and it was repeatedly proven that such canals did not exist. But people did not listen, did not believe it, because the truth was boring while conspiracy theories were interesting and entertaining. There were little green men on Mars. For this reason, until the 1960s, many things were written, drawn, and imagined about this mysterious Martian civilization. Movies, comics, games, and more were produced, but the truth was revealed in 1965. The Mariner 4 spacecraft sent by NASA to Mars in 1965 took detailed photographs of the planet's surface. And guess what? There were no canals, no advanced civilization. Mars was completely a frozen desert. But of course, conspiracy theorists did not stop. They claimed that NASA was trying to cover up what was really happening. Even though conspiracy theorists insisted, the truth was clear. There were now more advanced telescopes and spacecraft could be sent there. There was no living thing on Mars, but that did not mean there had never been life. In 1976, during the Viking 1 mission, something very strange was noticed while photographing the Martian surface. A massive structure resembling a human face was discovered, and next to this giant face, there were 3 pyramids just like in Egypt. Conspiracy theorists rose again. This was proof. Yes, there was no living civilization on Mars today, but once there had been an advanced civilization, and its remains were lying on the surface. Later photographs of the region were taken and the truth was revealed. It was just an illusion of light and shadow. There was no face, but as I said, some people preferred fantasy over reality. In the following years, they began searching for anomalies in every image coming from Mars. In the early 2000s, when probes began to be sent regularly to Mars, this search for strange shapes went completely out of control. Fossils, animal bones, statues, doors, old buildings, ruined structures. There were constant new claims and so-called evidence images, but the result was always the same. They were either illusions or fake evidence created with Photoshop. Yes, even today, very strange and unusual images come from the surface of Mars, but all of them have logical explanations. Mysterious buildings, Mars doors, these are all natural formations. Just because some objects and regions on Mars appear symmetrical does not mean they are not natural, because mathematics and geometry are already natural tools of nature itself. But despite all this evidence and explanation, some people insist that there are traces of an ancient civilization there. So why is that? Is it really pareidolia? Are our minds assigning meaning and life to shapes we see? Yes, that is certainly a factor. But in my opinion, what humanity is truly searching for is the idea that we are not alone. We want to know that we are not alone. We want to believe that the universe contains a rich diversity of life, and we look around to see that. And if we insist enough, we start to see it. At this point, some objections may arise. Yes, I have seen those images too. There are indeed very strange and unusual shapes on Mars that we are not used to seeing on Earth. So how do we explain them? The answer is simple, because that is Mars, not Earth. Mars has very different physical properties. Yes, many geological formations are similar to Earth's, but Mars also has unique characteristics. One of the most important differences is gravity. Mars has much lower gravity than Earth. That is why what happens on its surface differs from what we see here. Secondly, Mars has a much thinner atmosphere. Earth's atmosphere is about 160 times thicker than Mars's, and the atmospheric pressure on Mars is less than 1% of Earth. Despite this, massive dust storms still occur. Additionally, the temperature difference between day and night is very large. These differences are the main reason why Mars has such strange surface features. There are also other factors. Mars does not have an ozone layer. It is exposed to ultraviolet radiation. Combined with low gravity, thin atmosphere, and almost no magnetic field, Mars is fully exposed to space. These extreme conditions explain why Mars has such unusual formations. Rocks there are not shaped by water like on Earth, but by radiation and solar winds. To sum up, there are no pyramids on Mars. But I am sure of one thing. In a few years, this story will come up again, and people will ask about Martian pyramids once more. And I will continue to explain the truth as best as I can.
Thanks so much for watching my video. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and keeps me motivated to create more content like this. Also, if you want to be notified right away whenever I upload a new video, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.